Up next is an experiment we're going to try on the Oklahoma Joe's Longhorn reverse flow. Now, I tried this once with my Highland. Didn't really love the results that I got, so never try it again. But I'm going to show you guys one more time what I'm going to do. So I'm going to load up my charcoal basket for the Oklahoma Joe's with some B&B char logs. And I'm going to try to do the Mimion method without anything added to the box. So I'm not going to use the Mimion bars. I'm not going to do anything like that. I'm going to try to use airflow to control how hot that burns and how fast. And we'll see how long of a cook time we get with one basket. Now, after one basket, I'm not going to refill it. All I'm going to do is start using wood splits like I traditionally do. So here is the setup that we have. Basically what I did, I stood a bunch of the char logs upright, and then in the morning what I'm going to do is light about 5 or 6 pieces of these, and then we're going to drop it in that corner. And this is going to be just like the Mimion method that I would do in my drum smoker. Initially, we are going to use mesquite wood chunks when we start this fire, and after this has burnt out, we're going to use mesquite wood splits to continue managing our fire that way. Now, I will be making a brisket using this method. I do not expect it to run the entire length of the cook, so you guys are going to see me make adjustments. So just stay tuned, keep up with the videos, save them as you see them, but all of this is going to come out, so make sure you stay tuned. Can't wait to show you guys what we come up with. So today we have a brisket. So let's start from the beginning. We have jerk brisket, and I'm going to dry brine it with my homemade dry jerk rub. Alright, so stay tuned for those results. I think it's going to be amazing, but I don't know what the people are going to decide. This is going to get 16-hour dry brine or so. Now we got our brisket all trimmed up. Now I wanted to make it aerodynamic, but I decided to let these not fly through the smoke this time. We're going to have it sit on the grates and not move around in the smoker. Let the smoke go around the brisket, okay? We're not gonna, we just don't want this brisket to fly. This one was 19 pounds. It's probably a little heavy. I don't know if we can get it aerodynamic enough to fly. Now, I did want to use a binder. I was gonna use coffee creamer, but I changed my mind. If you guys ever tried the coffee creamer binder, let me know how it is, man. I think it's pretty cool. The brisket, now the dry jerk seasoning recipe is up on the page, so go cop that recipe. Try it. Just did ribs last weekend. We did chicken before. We're gonna do it on everything. All right, everything. So let's see what this looks like. Now, when I'm seasoning my brisket, I like to go the edges first. All right. And this is a choice brisket, guys, not a prime. Okay. Oh shit! Looks like it's staying on there without the binder. Oh snap! If you ain't sneezing, it ain't seasoning. Boy. Okay. Now, if you guys don't like how I have trimmed the brisket, I personally think that is your problem, and I'm not going to address it. Alright, we got the edges done. Now I want to do the fat side, and you just hit it, man. You just hit it hard. Now, if you guys want to see that jerk seasoning, go check it out. It's all over my page. Millions of views on multiple platforms. So please go get it. Now, because we don't have the binder, we're just gonna wait about 2 minutes and let this rub kind of sweat in on this right here. Now it's been sitting here. Let's flip it over and see if all the rub falls off. Whoa! Okay. Guess I'm never using a binder again. Let me know how that coffee creamer binder goes. And you want to hit this top part. Now this dry brine is going to be, like I said, about 16 hours. We're looking to come back and see all the salt disappear because it was pulled into that meat. Osmosis! Ladies and gentlemen, this is the beginning of the jerk brisket. Now because we didn't use a binder, let's see how much seasoning we wasted on the board. This would make a professional knife sharpener cringe. Okay. Well, at least I didn't buy a binder. Alright guys, here you have it. My jerk brisket going in the refrigerator 16 hours before we cook it on the Oklahoma Joe's Longhorn offset smoker. Keep following. This is the jerk brisket that we're running today. So let me show you guys the setup that we got and how it's working so far. So as you can see, we got it loaded up with the B&B char logs, burning nice and clean. We got that beautiful smoke, right? Now look at what we got right here. Tiny, tiny opening right there. So much fire. Look at this thing. Right there, baby. All right. No games. So this setup has been going for just about an hour. I want to see how long that setup runs. It's probably going to be about 4 or 5 hours, so we'll see. But you guys are going to be along for the ride to see each and every step of the way. Now I know you want to see the brisket. There you have it. Beautiful, beautiful. Just started. We got the beef tallow right beside it. Stay tuned for the cook. All right, y'all, so the Mimion in the offset smoker, I'm gonna show you guys an update. 5 hours in, and this is kind of the max that I've expected out of it. This side is saying 221. On this side is saying just under 250. So we know we're doing pretty good. Still getting really good, clean smoke out of there. Let's look inside on our brisket so far. It's been running about 4 hours. So decent. All right, we got that build-up. We got our beef tallow rendering down. As far as the fire, I've only had to mess with this a couple times just to kind of slow down the temp. It did get up to 275 at one point, but just messing with the exhaust a little bit kind of did that. So very easy to run. Now let's look inside the firebox. Haven't looked in a minute. I think we got enough fuel here to run us about another hour, hour and a half. So we're gonna see how long that is gonna last us. And then on this side, we still have super tiny opening, just that slit. So it's just a little bit of airflow that we're getting. All right. So all in all, I think this is working fine. Not, you know, it's not something that I want to do all the time on the offset, because if I'm using that much fuel, for example, in a drum smoker, I'm going to get about 20 hours. So I don't think it's super efficient, but if you kind of want some set it and forget it time on the offset, you can get yourself about 5 hours using that Mimion setup. And that was the point of this. I did have to come check it every 30 minutes just to make sure that everything is looking good out here. I think now I can kind of be a little confident in it and know that it's going to run 5+ hours. So we're going to see how long it's actually going to run. If it's going to give us more than 5 hours or just sit, you know, wherever it stops, we're going to figure it out. So let's talk about finishing your brisket, okay? Now, I am a big fan of wrapping my brisket in butcher paper, but recently when I started doing the foil boat, and I'm talking about a year ago, I always wrapped in butcher paper. Why I prefer the foil boat over butcher paper. The paper will sometimes have a tendency to sweat your bark off. Even if you get a pretty good bark, when you cut into your brisket, sometimes the bark will fall off. And it could be user error, but I kind of just eliminated the user error part of it and just went with the foil boat. Foil boat still gets you a really good finish because this bottom is protecting that meat, but it's also allowing it to steam from underneath, right? Without any water or anything like that. I can use one of three things. You can use a pan. Now I use these quite often, so I don't want to use this for a brisket cook, because after you use this for a brisket cook, you're not going to use it again. I'm going to rip out a couple pieces of aluminum foil, and I'm going to just roll it up and stick the brisket on top of that. This, however, is a solution that I've used a couple times, and what this is a half sheet cake pan. It's high enough to catch those drippings from the brisket, and it's okay. You can just throw it away. This was like $3. What do I do when my brisket is rendering down? I take the juices that are in the foil boat or the pan, whatever you're going to use, and I spoon it over the top of the brisket. What this does for my cook is it gives my brisket a solid bark because it's out in the smoke the entire time, but it also, when you put that fat drippings over the top of it, it gets that bark to not be so solid. It's just firm, it's not tough, it's not dried out, it's pretty good. This is my personal preference. I just picked this method because it works best for me now. And if today I'm in a situation where I have to wrap, I'm gonna use the butcher paper. Most days I'm gonna rip out 2 sheets of foil, I'm gonna put the brisket on it, I'm gonna roll it around. That's it about the foil boat. Not every time you see your smoke gets dirty or your temp is dropping, doesn't mean you need to add wood. Let me show you something. Trying to cook at 250. We're dropping below where we wanna be. Let's see what the problem is. So I just added a split about 15 minutes ago. I should not be out of fuel, so I know there's a problem in here. All right, let's look in there. And now I see that my split is not burning. Sometimes you just need to reposition it, and you'll see a big difference in your flame. And now that's gonna bring your fire back up, and you don't need to add a split just yet. And now your smoke is cleaned up again. Your fire is running strong, and your temp is going back where it needs to go. Make sure you're preheating. The next man up. All right, so today I did the Mimion method in the offset using the B&B char logs and some mesquite wood chunks. First off, the experiment went well, but I don't know if I'm gonna do it again, just like the last time. So I got 6 hours of continuous cook time with temps over 225. So between 225 and 250, it did very well. A couple things I'm gonna take away from this. The amount of fuel that I used and only got 6 hours, to me, it's not worth it. But that might be worth it to somebody else who only has an offset and they probably wanna take a nap, right? I still had to check on it, you know, about every hour or so, but it didn't really need me, right? There was one time when the temp got up to like 260, 270, but I just adjusted the exhaust just a little bit, came back down, then it was fine. So overall, I think for my purposes, I wouldn't do it again in the offset because it's gonna be a waste of fuel for me. If I wanna use that much fuel to get some cook time, I can run my Bronco or my Summit Kamado, and I'm gonna get over 20 hours of cook time with that same amount of fuel. So let me know below if you would try this Mimion method setup using your offset. We'll see how it goes. Right now I got my brisket going still, but we are running with one split at a time, still on the offset. Pace.